Hello! It's the Stardock stream. We're here. I'm Adam. That's Paul. We are
Hello.
talking Galactic Civilizations 3 as usual. It's a very big week. It is beta week. We went beta yesterday. Dropped the price down to the normal price. Well, $5 off the normal price. So it's $44.99 on Steam right now, as opposed to the only being the alpha elite founder package. So that's very exciting. And it's everything's, I don't know. I've been very happy with how the beta has gone. How about you, Paul?
As far as these things go, it's going really good. There's always more we'd like to do and more we'd like to have in, but I think that it's been pretty successful as far as getting out the door. I'm already hard at work on beta 2, so this beta is dead to me, but actually, no, that's not true. I just, we got a couple, I did a lot of tweaks to approval and to a lot of the improvements, and there were the approval economic ring improvements was missing, so I put that in. A bunch of little tweaks to things like that, and those will all be in the patch coming out next week.
Oh, that's next week. I couldn't get an answer out of Ray earlier today.
Yeah, it should be Thursday.
Cool.
I mean, we don't like to, unofficial, blah, blah, blah. We don't like to say in case something comes up.
Right.
But yeah, we plan on having a patch out Thursday with as many of the little things that are, either we find bugs or problems or are just, oh crap, I forgot there are 4 modules missing that is making it impossible to keep your approval at a decent level, and I wanted to get those in immediately. Oh, and one of the other things that we are actually adding that got broken was there is no way to idle a starport right now. So we're putting that back in. I'm not even sure how that got lost. I almost lied to one of the support people. Oh, how funny. So my ships got saved with my save, apparently.
Oh, weird.
Oh.
I thought those were local to the machine.
Oh,
not
maybe
to the
they are
save.
local from an earlier demo.
Maybe. I don't know.
Yeah. You see, we designed these in the ship designer, just like you can fly these around. It'd be really silly to do, but
That would be very silly. There will be a Starbase designer at some point, but last I heard that was expansion.
Not in the base game.
Right.
I
Yeah,
don't
that's what I was
wanna-
saying. Last I heard it was an expansion.
My dream is to make it an expansion, but the
Right.
problem is we really have to nail down a good reason for it to exist, and that's always the hard part. Oh, look, I
Right.
can invade this guy.
We've already got great questions coming in. We had several questions from the forum, which is great. I'll try to get to those in a minute, but I like to try to stay on top of the chat because I appreciate you guys, coming by and watching and chatting at us while we're doing this. So we have from Vermilion Chaos wants to know, would it be possible to make military starbases have a module that makes it guard nearby Stardocks and star shipyards and planets?
It's not a bad idea. I have other ideas for how to get shipyards better defended. What I'm gonna do is we're gonna put some basic defense on them. As a matter of fact, I already have locally. You just can't tell, and that way, you don't have to worry about some guy getting a lost defender and coming over and sniping your thing. And then we're gonna try making it so shipyard defense is actually a tech. So.
For shipyards or for starbases? For shipyards. Okay.
That way, we still want them to be vulnerable, but we want to be able to make it so that people don't do the shipyard tag, which is what is happening. The AI does it like crazy, and it's really annoying.
Right.
But we still like the idea of having them separate. We want you to have to defend them. The problem is that because the games all start in a state of war right now, there's no diplomacy, so there's never a moment for you to go, oh, well, I better start defending my shipyards.
Right.
You're just out of luck from
Yeah.
the get-go.
It'll be a lot better just in general once you're not immediately at war with everyone. I mean, maybe the Drengen declare war on you early or something, but it's not going to be you're just immediately beset upon from all sides once we get diplomacy in.
Building manufacturing capitals as if they are.
You know what it is? At least I've noticed when I'm playing the at least one of the things is that you're able to build a manufacturing capital on all colonies until you complete the first one. And then once you complete the first one, then it locks them out.
Happen.
Right. So
no, because he literally has them on each one. So maybe the AI just isn't checking against it. Or,
could be.
Welcome to game development. The stuff sneaks by us.
In the meantime, that's totally cheating if you do it, but we won't tell.
Yeah.
Are there any plans for allowing players to station ships to guard their shipyards? I thought you could already do that.
Can.
Yeah, you just move them onto there and they hang out and it gets a little shield icon.
As a matter of fact, it's the first thing I do. Especially because I've been playing against AI on like the higher difficulties just so that it's difficult. And it'll sneak over and start taking out your things. So like first ships I make, just station them at the shipyard. Same with star bases. You can station them just like a planet and you can exit them and the nice thing is you get max logistics on those, so you can have
so you can have a big fat defending fleet if you need to.
And that's on purpose. I think the problem is that people don't. Maybe it's not obvious. So we have to. These are all the things that we will be ironing out as we move forward.
Yeah, maybe like a little window on the UI for defending fleet, just so people know. I can station a fleet to defend that.
There's already one.
There might be.
Well, let's find out. Okay, see, because I have one. Oh, no, I actually just moved this guy out. He was defending.
Oh, yeah, it does have a little thing for defending fleet.
Yeah, see?
So, there you go.
Well, here, this one is defended.
There you go. So you see the little icon, yeah.
See, I got four paladins defending this because if this thing died, I would cry.
Right.
That's my war machine.
Right.
And each of these has I thought I had things defending them. Oh, I do. One there, nothing there, one there. But I also have been putting all the advanced modules on here. Ooh, yay, Christmas. Yeah. Well, right now there's a... Oh, never mind. Look at that.
Yeah, we have a comment in the chat from somebody who loves the beta, which is great. We love to hear that. But he is frustrated by his star bases getting blown up by weak little fleets that the enemy is sending in, and that's
shipyards or
star bases.
Star bases you can defend pretty easy. Just put modules on them.
Right. So you just have to make sure that you get some more constructors out
and put some ships on them. Essentially, treat them like you would a planet. You built this thing there. You don't want anybody to kill it.
I think
like I said, this all kind of boils down to the fact that there's no non-war phase to the game right now.
Right.
So you don't have time to build up. You don't have time to research things. We're addressing all those in beta 2. Welcome to Stardock.
There's some dogs going on.
Stardock.
Okay.
You okay, Maggie? Is Bailey stressing you out? That's Brad's dog. You heard howling in the distance there. I forget what I was saying. Yes. So yes, you can defend your star bases, but it's actually quite surprising how well just adding the defensive rings and stuff will give you quite a boost, and they will tend to scare off all the little guys. You still might need a fleet if you want to defend
against a serious assault. Sure,
you max out a star base's defenses, and it could still be taken out by a fleet of good ships, but essentially you turn it into a really good ship.
Sure.
And then, but anything that's in that fleet, essentially anything that's defending it, is treated as the fleet. So not only is that fleet's attack counting, Starbase's attack is counting. So yeah, you can make Starbases nigh invincible. You just have to actually do it. And I don't think players didn't know to do it. In Galactic 2, you didn't even have the option of stationing at a starbase. You just had to stack ships on top of it. And so, yeah.
Sure.
If, like you can see here, the little shield is on it. Might even say here, it doesn't say number of ships defending. It does down here, but it doesn't in the tooltip. I'll have to add that.
Let's see. Plans for performance optimization. Currently, the game makes my CPU run like hell. And that's just kind of a thing. We've seen some. I mean, overall, certainly at least my assessment has been that our technical problems have been pretty minimal. As far as especially pre-release code goes. Certainly there are people who are having problems. I know we have a problem with integrated laptop graphics, which is like an Intel problem more than a Stardock problem, unfortunately.
It's a problem that apparently everybody has, because we were like, we can fix that, and it turns out to be quite a nightmare. So we are working on it hard, and that's our biggest technical difficulty. Performance optimization, honestly, is just something that we will be doing until we ship. I mean, that's just life. We have all kinds of optimizations planned. I think maybe I'm safe to pull these guys out. And send them.
But yeah, I mean, it's just a matter of, you know, I think overall performance is pretty good. And, or at least in my experience, overall performance has been pretty good. I don't know who this guy is. Thinks he's coming to crash my stream.
Yeah, sorry about the dog.
So it's all right.
They can't hear you unless you speak into Paul's mic. But
Yes, here, say hi.
Hi, everyone.
that's Brad. He's Frog Boy or Dragonall or whatever you want to call him. He makes Stardock. He is Stardock.
He's the godfather of
there you go.
Galactic. Why do I have a...
All right, bye.
Bye, Brad. He's just apologizing for his dog, which, you know, I feel like Brad spends a lot of time apologizing for his dog, but, you know.
And assorted other things.
But yeah, there are certain configurations that are having some issues with performance or with CPU thrashing and stuff like that, and we just continue to try to nail down those cases and get them fixed as the game goes on or as production goes on. And you know, we're always sorry to hear it. The best thing that you can do is put your bug reports in the Stardock or in the Galactic Civilizations 3 tech support forum. We see that, we watch it. We love to see your DXDiag reports, which is, if you don't know, that's you type run. Or you do Windows R, type in DXDiag, and it will generate a report that shows what all your hardware is on your computer, and they're extremely helpful for us for tracking down some of those hardware config bugs and any of those configurations that we're having problems dealing with. So, I'm a little backed up in the chat, so if I don't get to your question for a little bit, please don't get too upset. We have a comment from Vermilion Chaos. Could you colorize the terraformable tiles so you don't overwrite lower quality tiles with higher terraforming tech? That's kind of an interesting
yeah, so
suggestion.
I saw that and mentioned that. I think that's a good idea. I'll have to look into make sure that it's practical. But yeah, I think it would be nice. So essentially when you select the tech, it essentially... See, the problem is... Yeah, we will definitely look into it. It's not quite as simple as it sounds, because the way it works. But we'll definitely look into it. I like the idea a lot.
Sure. One thing, another question from the chat. Cordonor asks, one thing which made me wondering for a long time: what was the idea behind pink stars?
Are there pink stars?
Probably. I don't know.
Can't tell because
they might
I
be...
have that damn loading bug and I can't see. Can't see stars.
Yeah.
I think they're supposed to be purple.
I was gonna say I think they're supposed to be purple. It could be check your color balance on your monitor.
It
might
could also
be
be that they're too
suggestion.
pink. The problem is that purple, when it looks hot, it tends to look pink. It's
Right.
Magenta.
Right.
You know, that's a kind of an old trope that we've kept around ever since. I mean, I think we might even have stole that eventually. Well, not stole, borrowed, been inspired by Moo at some point because they had like a purple star that was like. And right now the problem is there's too many of them, but you're supposed to get there's supposed to be like a purple star is like a special star and has high class planets around it. So you know, but right now the weights aren't balanced quite right, so you end up seeing a lot of them.
Let's see. Had the ubiquitous question about carrier tech. What's up with carrier tech? How are they going to work? That's all honestly questions that we're just going to punt until we get closer to the combat.
Well,
reveal.
No, carrier tech is pretty settled.
Oh, okay. All right.
And matter of fact, I don't want to promise. I can put it in. The thing is, I can put the basic carrier tech in for the next beta, and I probably will. But we're going to probably enhance it further after that. But the way the basic tech works is essentially you have a ship. You essentially select a tiny ship that will be called your escort or your assault fighter. You can design it, you select it, you say this is it, and then you add assault modules or escort modules to a ship. And then when those ships go into battle, they essentially auto-spawn or launch, or whatever we want to call it, the number of ships that are in that module, which depends on the tech level, 3 or 5. And those ships then fly out and kill everything. Right now, in the beta, they would essentially just be like having a bigger gun or something because you can't see them actually fighting. But the difference is actually huge because instead of it just being a bigger gun, you have another target for the AI to shoot at. You have speed and defenses and all these things that are being divided up, and like if the fighters can be fast on a slow ship, and the fighters will fly in and take out the shields before your big ship gets there. And so right now all that is just happening in the math, so it's not very fancy. If anything, we might push them off till the battle viewer, which will be in beta 3, so that they're appreciated.
Sure.
But I'm testing them internally already. The only question that we're still debating is whether you should just be able to grab a tiny ship and load it onto a carrier. And whereas the original design is I didn't want that micromanagement, so that's why we came up with this kind of the beauty of the carrier modules is that the ships inside them auto upgrade.
That is nice.
Right? Essentially, whatever your current escort is, that's what comes out of that escort module. And therefore, you don't have to worry about, well, what did I load into that? What did I do this?
Sure.
And then also the beauty of it is they respawn after every battle. So essentially the battle ends, you get your 3 fighters back. And so I actually think they're much more powerful this way than if you actually were like, well, I want to load up my particular fighter.
I would hate that. The actual, it sounds really cool.
But a lot of people really want that.
That's true.
And to my answer to that is, well, that's kind of what a fleet is. What I was thinking of making some modules that are kind of a passive thing where you put this in your fleet and every ship in the fleet can now move the speed of it.
That's cool.
So that essentially becomes kind of a carrier.
Yeah. I would totally use that.
Yeah, and
because then you can do interesting things with like putting fewer engines on things or stuff like that.
But I would make it a super huge module. So then you might have a cargo ship that just has this thing in it and a bunch of engines, and then you have to have a bunch of people to protect it. But then you don't have to put engines on them, right?
Right.
So yeah, these are the types of things we're playing with. Some of these things might become race traits or based on a particular tech tree.
Sure.
That's the fun you're going to get to share in as we go through the next few betas.
A great question from Parrot Math. Is there a way of cloaking ships that enter dust or nebula fields, possibly through adding a module onto them?
I currently have a cloaking module in the defs. Whether it will survive through into the game is a whole nother question. We do have jamming and sensor and targeting techs that will be coming in, and they kind of are like a soft version of that. But the problem with cloaking is that it's an AI nightmare. Because the AI kind of has to cheat to use them properly, and then everybody's like, well,
then your AI cheats,
So we have problems with it, but I still want to do it. It's on my list. It's literally exists in the game, but it may not make it into the final game, but maybe it'll make it into expansion. We just have to figure out how to get it to play fair before we really want to put something like that in.
Sure. Oh, let's see. Oh, this is a good question, which I think we may have talked about a few streams ago, but it's worth addressing again. Are there going to be any uses for galactic resources other than their current ones? And what about the economic and research resources from Galciv 2?
This is a multi-part answer. I think I might have to get some life support.
Overrated.
Okay, so the first off, yes, regular strategic resources, what are in the game right now, are going to actually be used for a ton of stuff. What they are being used for now is really almost nothing in comparison. All of the support modules, I should probably say most of, are going to require resources. And there's, like I think I said this last week, there are as many support modules as there are modules in the game. So there's a bunch.
And that's stuff like something that makes all your lasers in the fleet shield pierce.
Yeah, or when you blow up, it takes out everybody's shields or things like that. There's some really crazy stuff that we're doing. Those are going to start coming in the next beta, but will not really come into their own until the tactical battle. I mean, not the tactical battle. The battle viewer comes in. So yes, we have lots of stuff for that. I'm also playing with the idea of having some of them be more like right now. It'd be really easy to let Durantium be much more common than everything else, but then I kind of have to nerf what you can do with Durantium. I can't make it right now. They're all kind of equal. So, we're playing with things like that. We're talking about making it so some of the improvements, I was thinking of making it so power plants, anything that is a big augmenter of other improvements would require a resource. Playing with things like that. And then the, classic Galciv 2 resources are being turned into what we're calling precursor relics, which will, and some of you may have seen them in the game because they slip through in one of the map configurations, and they unfortunately do absolutely nothing and are not, they're just using a placeholder graphic. But what they are is they're going to kind of think Halo. They're big, giant structures created by precursors, and you study them, which is the same as mining them, but we're just trying to give them a little more lore. And so you'll find one, and it will essentially, by studying it, you boost all your whole civilization's approval or your whole civilization's economy. So that's what the ones in Galciv 2 did, was they were big squares, and that's not very interesting. So we're adding some lore to them. We're making it so you have to study. That's what, if you look in the tech tree, there's a, where is it? Is it under engineering? Xenoarchaeology. Xenoarchaeology is what gives you all of the modules you need to study the precursor relics. It also will give you the modules you need to tap into the Ascension gates, which will also be coming in beta 2.
And that's the Ascension Victory.
That's the Ascension Victory, which is exactly almost what it was in Galciv 2. We'll be tweaking it a little. The reason I toyed with the idea of actually combining the two. So the relics would be out there, and if you turned them into a capture of the flag, where if you held one long enough, or you held a majority of them long enough, you would win. That's the primary difference we're going to have with Ascension Gates, is you will have to hold a majority of them and then get X amount of points to win. Okay. Whereas in Galciv 2, you could literally just hold one, and if nobody mined it, or if you just went around and raided all of their mining bases, you would eventually win. And the problem is, it was a legitimate win, but it took forever, and it essentially just encouraged turtling and doing nothing. And
sure.
And
that's like the least fun way to win a game.
So the Ascension crystals are going to become a little more capture the flag like.
Sure.
So yeah, those will be back, and the relics, which are the old resources, the relics and the Ascension gates, will be in beta 2. There'll be a lot more use of the existing resources in beta 2, and there are actually 2 more resources, which are planets you can mine, which is one's a gas giant, one's a planetoid, and one gives you things that are good for targeting and sensors and things like that, and the other one gives you things that are good for speed and life support. So you can kind of see that kind of fleshes out our 5 prongs.
Sure.
I left those out for beta 1 because I already felt like there wasn't enough to do with the resources. But in beta 2, those should all be in. They will not, I'm sure, be in their final state, but they'll be there to play with. So that'll be fun.
Sure. Had the usual question from Parrotmath. Are you going to add the explosion button to the ship designer? That's something we've talked about, that Parrotmath has been stumping for months.
Oh.
And you got to put a button in the ship designer so you can hit the button and watch what happens when your ship blows up.
That is actually a really cool idea. I don't remember ever hearing this. So
no,
maybe I've just played it. But yeah, we actually want to do stuff like that. Right now, we're just starting on getting the battle viewer in, and we have an actual skeleton in every ship that is generated.
Oh, okay.
And when the ship blows up, it allows us the parts to fly apart in really cool ways, and we're playing with stuff like that. So once that's in, that would actually be a really good debugging tool for us.
Oh, yeah, totally
so,
would.
We've also talked about the idea of making, there's a lot of, we really want to sexy up the ship designer. We want to make it so like when you put a shield on, the whole thing goes, and shows shield.
Sure.
Or when you put on armor, it I was actually even thinking about having the subsurface change, although we probably won't do that, but we might have it change slightly, like all of a sudden you see armor plates and then they fade away, or things like that. Trying to, we'd like to have like a weapon preview mode, so you can go fire and see how it looks firing.
Yeah.
One of my dreams is actually to have essentially like a I don't know what an export, which would essentially turn it into almost like a little poster. It would give you the perspective view, top, right, bottom. Put it on a grid, put the stats on the bottom.
Oh,
and
sure.
export it as a big ping. That'd be awesome.
That would be
That's
cool.
definitely a later thing.
That's a fairly fluffy thing.
But
to,
it would be awesome. And
would
I
be
honestly,
awesome.
I think it would be awesome because I think people would share those. Or can you imagine if you're going to the Steam workshop to look at ships, and all the ships are in this really nice
That would be cool.
format, and you can see exactly what they're. You can see their stats.
As your marketing guy, I approve this.
Yeah, so and it would be really pretty. The problem is it's almost entirely a cosmetic thing, and therefore
Right.
it has to be pushed toward till the game is done.
Right.
So.
Question that I can mostly answer, I think. The AI in Galciv 2 is considered to be one of the best features in the game. What are you doing to improve it in Galciv 3? We have Brad, who was in here earlier, who's the CEO of Stardock and the original designer of Galactic Civilizations, is also our AI programmer, and he has programmed all the AI for Galciv, and he is programming the AI for Galciv 3. Basically, he hasn't done anything with it yet, or has done very little.
Well, we have another guy, Alan.
We do, and Alan
is doing
sort of the skeleton.
Yeah,
and Alan is building the skeleton with what are called APIs, which are application program interfaces, and they're basically the hooks that Brad can then go in and use these to reach into the code very easily and tweak those AI behaviors to get to be as awesome, as possible, basically. And that's going to be something that is going to be worked on, through release and beyond, for sure. AI is a never-ending battle. But I mean, basically, what are we doing to improve it? We are putting ourselves in the best possible position to make the best AI that we can. And a lot of, that's something we're always very conscious of in the design process. Paul is always very conscious of when he's designing the game, which is how can the AI use this feature? How well is the AI going to be able to use this? We just talked about that with cloaking. Right? And where it's like, yeah, it sounds awesome, but is it really awesome if the AI doesn't know how to use it?
Death stack.
Enemy death stack?
Silly things like this, but that's all right.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, for example.
It's all the more things for me to blow up.
We had a couple of questions from the forum about the ship designer, asking whether beta ship designs are going to survive into the final game, or that might have been from the chat. I apologize.
Our plan, yes, is definitely. And as a matter of fact, there was a little confusion when we put out the beta. We didn't actually kill the ships, but we moved the folder, so people thought their ships were gone, and I felt bad about that. You just have to move them back into the design folder, and they'll work. I think you might lose your thumbnail because we changed the naming convention of the thumbnail. And you can essentially just reload the ship and resave it, and it'll all come back. Our goal, my essentially edict as the designer was that, and as a crazy ship design person myself, is you can't break the ship designs. You can break the playableness of them. So, like, say I one day decide Doomrays just aren't gonna cut it, and I take them out of the game. You have a ship that relies on a Doomray, all of a sudden you can't build it anymore.
But you're not blowing up the design
but
of
the design
ship.
itself, at worst case scenario, what I want to have is essentially a save as template where you essentially so any ship, no matter what's on it, you can, as far as functional components, you can save as a template and therefore just reuse later and add whatever new modules get
later,
added.
meaning the design, the cosmetic, the look and feel.
Yeah,
of
we don't
it.
want to lose your design. I mean, not to mention, you got to remember, all of the ships in the game are designed with a designer. So if we break it for us too.
And we really don't want to do that.
Who, I don't get to do all the ship designs, but I did all the Terran ones. If those all broke, I would just scream and yell. And so yeah, trust me, I'm on it. I'm watching the ship designer quite thoroughly. I would have people working on it 24/7 if I could vindicate it to Derek.
Yeah, good luck getting the budget for that one there, Paul.
Yeah. Well, the beauty of it is that we can make it better and better all the way through all the expansions.
Absolutely.
So
Absolutely.
2021 we'll have the perfect ship designer.
Vangerlack says he doesn't have a question, just thanks for making the podcast. He opened the Escapist stream in another window and won a key. So congrats to you there.
Sweet.
We are very happy to see other people streaming Galciv as well. Escapist was doing one. There's all kinds of stuff going up on
Did I just
YouTube.
lock up?
I don't know.
My God.
This game doesn't have any bugs. I have been told.
I have had. This is like a first.
That's it. Yeah, I have not seen
For-
that. You're pretty hard locked there.
Holy moly!
Oh well, welcome to
Wonder
game
what
development, I
happened.
guess, everybody.
Well, this is the public beta, right?
This is the public beta.
So yeah, this definitely should not be happening.
Oh,
Oh well, it's
you
beta.
can blame me. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's my fault somehow, probably. We can talk about some questions while you're getting a game reloaded, though. Let's see. Where were we? Oh, yes. We had some questions about trade and planetary trade goods and how trade is going to work and all that good stuff.
Well, okay, so trade is going to be similar, but not the same as in Galactic 2. I mean, well, and by trade, we're talking about trade routes.
I assume so.
Yeah. So, so there will be trade routes in the classic sense, in that you build a freighter, you send it to another world, it creates a trade route. That trade route brings in money. You can build economic bases around it to boost its yields. The only difference in that case is now it affects the planet, not the line. So, like, you have to build your base touching the planet that is touching that has got the trade route.
I see.
You can. One of the more interesting things is now you will be able to. We're going to be able to have different types of trade routes. So we'll be able to have population trade routes or influential trade routes. So we've got a whole structure. I'm still playing with what works and what's fun, but yeah. So that will be neat. At the very least, in the next beta will be the traditional, economic trade route. Like we're talking about having like slave trade for the Drengen and
Right.
things like that.
Stardock does not condone slavery.
No. We have, and then there is a new feature coming called trade resources, which will essentially look a lot like you'll land on a planet, and there'll already be what looks kind of like an improvement there, and that improvement will literally it's just there, gives you a global to your entire race bonus of something. So you land and there's a snuggler farm, and snugglers are so cute that they make everybody on that planet in the galaxy happy, and they bring in money or whatever. So you had this snuggler farm, your whole race gets a +5 to approval. Everybody's happy. But I have 2 of them because I found another one on another planet. I can go then to the Drengen and say, hey, would you like
So it's kind
to
of
lease my snugglers? And then you can trade that with them, and it gives you all these little. Right now there's 20 or so different trade resources that we're testing. It gives you all these little bonuses and little things that you can trade with it to keep the AI relations alive, and also just to make money and to help yourself. Essentially,
Sure.
bonuses you can buy or bonuses you can trade for.
Sure.
They also are nice because they contribute to adjacency.
Oh, that's cool.
So, like, if there's a snuggler thing, any approval improvements next to it get big bonuses. If it's so that's the type of things, and then precursor nanites or whatever military things next to it get a bonus.
Sure.
So it essentially they serve a kind of the same function as features, except for you don't build on them. You can destroy them
If you just want the hex
to,
back.
If you just want the hex.
Okay.
But the goal is to make them so that you don't want to destroy them.
Sure.
They're a little bit like the old trade goods from Galactic 2, except for you built those. And then once you built them, you could trade them. In this case, you get them, and that way we can seed them by the type of planet. This is what people ask, what are these planetary traits, the wobble and the active core? Those types of things will contribute to the type of trade resources you find on them.
Gotcha.
So that'll be fun.
Very cool. I want to get to some questions from the forum. Thank you, Richie Mo, for in the chat for reminding me to get some questions from the forum because I'm bad about that sometimes. But it's good. It's a good problem to have. We have too many questions, which means we have too many viewers, which is all just wonderful.
I'm hoping we have some new people after the beta gone out.
I think I've definitely seen some new names in the chat, which is cool, and we have a couple, some more viewers
Thank
overall.
you, everybody who's getting into the beta now.
Absolutely.
We're very excited.
We're super excited.
We do things a little weird here at Stardock, but hopefully you'll have fun for the remaining, months or
Of
this
development
process, or 6 days?
Well, what is it? Yeah, 7 or 8. I mean, April.
Spring-ish.
Yeah,
Yeah.
April is the hope.
That's something that we
Oh,
don't
yeah, because I haven't posted that all over the internet or
Oh,
anything.
have you already?
Oh, yeah, it's up
Oh,
there.
okay. I thought it was some sort of top secret.
Oh, no. I mean, if we don't, Brad is going to anyway. So
That's
whatever.
how we always vindicate.
But no, it's. I mean, just philosophically, I don't want, like, I would rather be upfront about it in the hopes that people will understand that we are, you know, it's all tentative until the date actually comes.
Why am I so broke? Sorry.
So anyway, questions. What should I do to make sure errors I'm finding get looked at? Please report them in the Galciv 3 support forum at forums.galciv3.com. Even if it doesn't look like we are responding to everything, that is the best way for us to see them, collate them, and get them into our bug database and look at them. And we really, really appreciate all the bug reporting that everybody does. That is a huge, huge, huge help to us as we develop the game. Let's see. Question about second screen support. Which would be really cool. So basically, Richie Mo's question from the forum is, can we have a second screen that's like all of our like menus and UI and stuff, and then have the main view on the other screen? That's something I've always kind of wanted since I got my second monitor, because I'm a big strategy gamer. You know, talking to developers, apparently that's hard to implement for some reason, and it's like this whole
Because
nother
you have to create two separate
entire
DX devices. It's quite a pain. I would love it myself, honestly. And I will say that it is not rolled out forever, but there are no plans to do that in at least the vanilla game.
Sure. Let's see. Gonathor, who's one of our elite founders, he's been around for a long time. We appreciate his support, asks about the writing and wants to know if we're going to go back to the old, super overwritten, don't tell Brad I said that, but the old big blocks of text for technologies and stuff. I think it's probably safe to say that what we have is probably the direction that we're going, whether or not some things get changed here and there. Me personally, like, I think Chris is doing an awesome job. Chris Buckles is our writer.
These like descriptions here, are about the length that we intend to go.
Yeah, I mean, it's just once you get any longer than that, it's like, I mean, people don't read. Generally speaking, a lot of people aren't even going to read what's there now.
Well, they actually, we intend to actually have. There's already, it's just not being displayed. There's a short description for those who are very lazy. Where it'll be like
lasers shoot things.
No, literally, it's like increases beam attack, and then underneath it, whether energy particles are both at the same time. Blah 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 blah. So but then again, we really want those long descriptions too for the fun. So I think a lot of good games do. Civ does this very well. Is they have a short description, says, "Great if you want to grow, great if." So that's kind of our motivation is study this to grow, study this to kill things, study this to make money. We want those kinds of descriptions, and then the flavor description is available for players who want to enjoy it. I right now really like the Drengen descriptions are all very
funny. Chris is definitely at his best when he's writing the sort of evil and malevolent and stuff like that.
And each tree will have those kinds of things, and then a lot of the writing in Galciv 2 will actually not be the tech trees. It will be the anomalies, the events.
Right.
We have
the colonization events are generally speaking pretty funny.
Yeah, we're going to have a ton of those. We're going to have a ton of global events. We're going to have a ton of anomaly events. We're gonna have. I'm actually toying with the idea of having invasion events.
That's right. I think we talked about that last stream.
Yeah, so we're gonna. It's really, and then the UP. There's gonna be, probably 50 to 100 different resolutions, and each of those has to have, some text and answers to everything, and so we're gonna work Chris quite heavily.
But he can crank it out though.
Yeah,
he really can. I'm impressed
because I like to write them, but then I get his stuff back and I'm like, oh, never mind, I shouldn't even bother.
I'm impressed because I spent 10 years as a writer, and Chris can put out more than I can for sure. Question: how long have these streams been running for? Only heard about them via Rock Paper Shotgun today. We love Rock Paper Shotgun. Shout out to them. We've been running these for several months, pretty much almost all the way through the
I
alpha.
think since Alpha 1.
Yeah. So you can check out all the archives, little self-pimpage. You can check out every stream we've done, minus the first one because that was ugly and I hate it. You can check them all out on our YouTube page. I put them up pretty much directly after we stream. So they're available as of later the evening that they're online on our YouTube page, which is youtube.com/StardockGames. Everything's there. I invite you to check up on previous ones, which is cool. Minor civilizations, bunch of questions about those. How do they work? How are they going to be different from major civilizations? When are they going to be added to the beta?
Well, honestly, I'm hoping they'll be almost identical to major civilizations, except for they will not be in the UP.
Mm-hmm.
They will,
which is the United Planets.
They will not expand on their own. If you give them a planet, like in Galciv, you would give them a planet and they wouldn't really do anything with it. If you give them a transport, we want them. You give them a colony ship, they'll go colonize something. I want to essentially make them much more fleshed out so that you can trade with them, so you can contribute. Ideally, they will be designed by me or whoever exactly the same way as a major. This will have a flag that says you're a minor.
Sure.
So like they'll be able to have their own tree. What we'll probably end up doing is have like 3 or 4 generic trees that the miners share, or like the Dark Yor might use the Yor tree, or so we'll definitely be expanding that. We should. I don't want to say they'll be in the next build, but they'll be in pretty soon. And yeah, like I said, they should behave just like a normal race. The difference is they will not have their own art style. They'll have a leader, and that's about it. And then they might now, depending on how time exists, they might use their own sets of ships, but ships will be made with Altarian parts or with parts or whatever.
We had what I thought was kind of a cool little idea anyway out of the forum from 11th Star. Would love for us to add some of the details about the planet that you're colonizing on the colonization event screen. So that you can, like when you colonize it and you see what the bonuses are, you can kind of, oh yeah, that's right, this is an active core world. Maybe I want to pick the production one.
That's a good idea. I'd have to think about it.
Kind of a neat idea. I mean, it depends on, everything depends on how much trouble it's going to be.
I almost wish we could show you the surface first and then pull up the event.
I wouldn't like that. I feel like that would just make it too, I don't know, make it too finicky, I guess.
Yeah, well, another thing that might just be better is just literally to make sure that these bonuses are more obvious, so.
Sure.
One of the things that I have a problem with right now is when you go here, it's like after core, that really doesn't tell you. You have to actually go mouse over here to go. So what we're going to change this to is it'll say feature or trait, and then underneath it'll say active core and the bonuses
right
there.
It would be nice to have
to know, because I've built whole planets out and went, oh crap, this is that. I've totally built a bunch of research centers on a planet that's going to half my research.
Yep, I've done that. I would also love to see any bonuses from the colonization event to show up there as well.
Here we go.
That would be nice. Let's see. Had a good question from the chat, way back in the chat. Hopefully you're still watching, whoever that was. Wanted to know just about how we hope players will be able to manage large empires, because that's one of the big things with Galciv 3. It's 64-bit. We can make these huge galaxies, these immense, humongous galaxies. So you're going to have, you might literally have hundreds of ships, dozens of colonies. Do you want to talk a little bit, Paul, about how we're sort of approaching that?
Anybody who played Galciv 2 will remember the governor screen. And that is something that will be coming in the next beta and we're going to have a much more elaborate. I'm actually kind of trying to figure out how. I don't want to overkill it, so we're going to start probably with maybe a more elaborate governor system than we'll probably settle with. But I'm going to have, you'll just be able to go in and say all starports building this ship, build this ship, or all planets building this improvement that build this improvement, or on a more global level, we're going to have I'm trying to debate what to call. I don't like having galactic governors, which are these things, and then planetary governors. So I was thinking I might actually rename the planetary governors focuses, and you'll be able to say all and those will essentially be like what we had in Twilight. There'll be a set of you'll be able to set up essentially slider preferences and improvement lists of what you want build, and then the AI will go, okay, and it'll do it for you. So you'll be able to say all planets using the military focus change to the research focus.
I would like that a lot.
So there's a lot of little things like that. We'll be able to say all ships going to this rally point go to this rally point. All planets building ships going to this rally point now make this ship. So it's we're trying to create a really robust system without it getting too complicated. So that helps immensely. And otherwise, we'll just have to bang on things. We'll have to we're going to probably need some smarter versions of, when things know when to pass, when things,
Right.
smarter versions of passing. We might almost need like a century for planets where it's like, just idle until X changes. Idle until, focus on money until I make X amount of money. I'm pulling stuff out of my butt. This would be awesome. So those are the types of things that we are looking at, and I'm sure we love the giant galaxy, so that is the thing. But the primary balancer of a giant galaxy will be the governor screen and the planet list screen, which will show you all your planets and what they're making, and you can quickly look over them and go, hey, this planet's making this. I need to go there and build more economic improvements because it's making a lot of money. Or, oh, hey, that planet's making a lot of money. I can crank up its manufacturing and it will stay happy. Or this planet is super happy. I can, so there's all kinds of things you'll be able to do. Those things are all coming. Some of them will be in beta 1. The governors will be in beta 1. The rally points will be in beta.
You mean beta 2? Yeah, I was going to say. I can guarantee you they're not in beta 1.
The planet list may or may not be in beta 2. So we're working on these things. They're definitely important to us.
I am just as a player, I'm super excited about that stuff. One of my,
it kills me. It kills me in just this game. I'm playing. What is a medium?
I think that looks like a medium. I think
it's a medium against 4 races. And I've only got,
you're only at, what, a third of the galaxy, not even?
And it's already like, oh man, I wish I could just say everybody making constructors make me transports,
Totally.
and you can't do that right now, but you will be able to shortly. I already designed the screen. I just need somebody to hook it up.
Totally. Stay Tasty wants to know, will the Yor be incredibly OP so that they can destroy all the meat bags of the galaxy? It's very important.
They will be.
Brian Clare would like to see
I
that.
don't know if they'll be incredibly overpowered. They're gonna, it's Brad likes to joke that people worry about the Drengen, but really the Yor are the threat. They're the ones who are eventually gonna just annihilate everybody. We have to keep them relatively balanced, so they don't.
Yeah, I mean that's the joke. I mean it's a multiplayer game,
but I'm sure we'll be able to put some really clever. Exploity awesomeness into them.
And Buckles is going to have a lot of fun with writing the Yor too.
Yeah, they don't have to worry about farms. They don't have to worry about,
which is huge if you think about it. Like farms and food is such a huge thing.
It's a huge thing. Yeah, we could play with the idea of just making them not care about approval. I mean, there's so we could do some crazy things, but then again, like you said, you do something like that, you really have to counterbalance it with something else.
And you have to make sure the AI can play it.
Yeah. We'll make it so all their ships require Durantium. There you go.
Let's see. Will the Snathy be added in with the minor races at start? No, the Snathy will be DLC. We've talked about that.
They'll be in as They'll be in as a minor.
Oh, they will be in as a minor.
Game.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that would be blasphemous not to. But
okay, all right, fair
like
enough.
I said, my dream is to make this DLC that will turn them into a major.
I'm going to be so very sad if you don't end up making this DLC.
Oh, no, I will. I will if I do it entirely on my own. I mean, like I said, it was one of the things when I was designing the original design doc, I got to the end and went, what would be an awesome. So it's actually in my design pack is the Snathy DLC description, and most of what I wrote down whatever year and a half ago is still, I think, a good idea. And so it'll definitely be coming. Like I said, even if I have to do it all myself.
Excellent. Parrot Math asks, I know I take a lot of Parrot Math questions. You guys will have to suffer through that. He's been a long-standing supporter of Stardock, and he's done a ton of stuff for Legendary Heroes, which we appreciate very much, which is another one of our games that you should totally check out because it's awesome.
Hey, this is a bug.
Did you quit announcing bugs to the world, Paul?
Sorry, it's a bug. I was actually just told this to Ray.
But anyway, Parrot Math wants to know if we will mention required recommended tech specs for galaxy sizes, which is kind of an interesting idea of like, man, you might not want to play this galaxy size unless you have this big of a machine or whatever.
I honestly think we're going to have to.
We might kind of have to because Brad wants to put in some insanely
ideally
huge...
we don't want people to have to do that. We
Right.
want, but at some point we're going to be like, sure, you've got a 64-bit system, but you've only got 4 gigs of memory. So, no immense, super immense, or whatever we're calling it, huge, humongous galaxy,
right?
For you, and also there are one of the things that bites us, even though we're 64-bit, is video card memory.
Right.
So some of the laptops, which as a matter of fact, most people who are probably having performance issues, it's probably video cards that are the problem. It's really hard to work around those. Whereas going to 64-bit let us do all these amazing things as far as keeping giant memory addresses and doing these large scales, but we still have this minor bottleneck in the video memory.
Well, there you have it. Big Rectangle only has 4 gigabytes. Oh, you'll survive. All right. I've had you here for almost an hour, Paul. We just keep going later and later every week, I swear.
Guy.
Oh, well, if you want to hang out and kill that guy, I will keep the stream going until you invade Jovian 1. Jovian Prime, I should say.
See, look here. Oh, what is this? Oh, that's a Drantium. I thought it was an accidental ascension gate.
Ah.
Yeah. So lots of great stuff planned for. I actually was looking at the beta 2 list and little bit of a panic attack because there's so many things. But the good news is almost all of it is stuff that is already in, but just needs to be turned on and polished and
supported in UI and all that kind of stuff.
I've already added the Kryn. They are now officially in and working.
That leader looks cool as hell.
It's weird because he looked like an idiot in Galactic 2. and we were like, well, can we take him out of the environmental suit? And once you did that, then it's like we have this great 3D animator / art modeler, Kevin, who made that, and we're just like, yeah, perfect. And so, and when he looks at you in the game, you're like, hey, that's pretty sweet.
It's so
cool. The ships are done, everything's done. They just need to be hooked up, and
nice.
Brandon needs to get work making all of the classes, and so they'll be in. I'm already working on their tech tree, and
I was going to say
funness.
Very cool. You can get a preview of the Kryn race if you watch the little gameplay trailer that I put together for Beta 1 here. We have all 8 of the races actually have their little leader animations in there. I think they're all super cool. I think Kevin does amazing work. One last thing, are the founder star names included already into Beta 1? They are not in Beta 1. Those are going to be put in at some point during the beta. The thing is, we need to make sure that we give enough warning so that everybody who is a founder has a chance to give us their desired star name to be included before we kind of shut it down and give the list to development and get it put in the game. So hopefully it'll be, like I said, it'll be available for a little bit longer, and then it'll be in beta 3 or beta 4 or something like that.
It could be trivial for me to put them in. We're just finalizing the list. We don't want people to get cut out.
Right.
So they will be in as soon as they can be, and we have a lot. We have quite a ton. I was a little surprised. So so that's going to be great. As a matter of fact, I was a little worried that they would get lost in the giant list we already had. But it turns out they're actually like twice the size of the list we already had. So
there will be plenty of founder stars.
Lots of founder stars.
And we've had a lot of
people might have a hard time finding their own,
right? Because
there's so many. You'll have to play on a giant galaxy.
Maybe you will have to play on a giant galaxy. Fortunately, RAM is getting cheaper and cheaper by the day. We've had a lot of requests and questions from people who want to know if we'll be able to if they'll be able to turn off founder star names in the final game, where they just want to play with the general list. And that's something we've thought about. I mean, it feels kind of chintzy to not like to just give a checkbox to like, disable this cool thing that is a neat thing for our founders.
It's gonna be necessary. I mean, let's get them in,
Yeah.
and let's see what people think. I said I really will be surprised if people find it necessary.
Oh, and Island Dog pasted the star naming URL for the founders into the chat. It is galciv3.com/name-a-star. So you can check that out. I love that you did this, Paul, because as your marketing guy, I get to use this all the time as an example of the crazy things you can do
Have you been
with our
showing
ship
this
designer.
or something?
No,
Because-
I've just been talking about it.
Yeah, because I was doing an interview with The Escapist, and they're like, "Oh,
Oh,
I
yeah.
heard you made some little robots and had them mining."
Oh, I think it was in the press guide that I sent out because I said like a
okay.
little.
Yeah. I'm like,
getting started
you've
guide.
been watching the stream? That's cool.
That would be maybe he is. That would
Yeah,
be cool.
I was wondering, did I just leave these in on this build, or are these saved in my game?
I have no idea. Oh, you know what it is? Because you had brought in like your local build a while back. I wonder if maybe you copied over your.
They just must be in the. Well, here you go. Here is proof that we haven't deleted your ships. Because
Excellent.
here they are.
Excellent.
I was going to replace the Lost Defender or the precursor ship.
Oh,
with
cool.
This little birdie-looking ship.
I like that. It's very different than the rest of the ships. I dig it.
Well, that's kind of the point.
Right.
It's essentially to give you something a little more alien-looking.
There you go. One last question. I keep saying one last question, but we have such good questions in the chat. Does asteroid mining work yet? No, that's I don't actually know what your plan for asteroid mining
Well,
is.
no,
if
asteroid
it's-
mining is currently not. It is essentially resource mining.
Okay, so like
So-
the Durantium.
Yeah,
or
the
whatever.
Durantium is mining. The problem with mining in Galciv 2, and actually Brad and I have hotly debated this, is that I felt like the mining in Galciv 2 was kind of just too shallow. You didn't really get it. You just got a bonus. It was essentially like building a production base. It didn't really, and then they'd flip all the time. And I mean, I could be wrong, but I would hit automate miner and forget about it. And they would just mine until, you ran out. Or if you were aggressive, you'd build an extra one and say automate 2 miners, and you just get all the bonuses you can. We'd like to make it so that those are a little more deliberate. If anything, I would like to actually make it so the asteroids contain more Durantium, so that there's a lot more Durantium mining, as I was saying earlier, where all of a sudden now Durantium is used for a lot of things. Maybe make it so all the hull strengthening things, or maybe the armor all requires Durantium. And so that might be a good intro to resources if that was a little more common. And
Totally.
so we'll play with that. We have not rolled out actually the idea of bringing back the old style asteroid mining, but I'm going to see if we can avoid it.
All right. This is the actual last thing. Some question. We've had a bunch of questions about custom race generation and how that works and stuff, but the one specific one I thought was a cool little suggestion in the chat. Could you add ways to define what the custom race's home planets are? The suggestion was like a volcanic world or an ice world or something like that, so
Well,
that then you
yes.
could kind of have it be part of the lore for your custom race.
Yes.
I think
I
that's
don't
awesome.
see why not, because we specify what the regular planets are. So it's just a matter of exposing it into a user interface that players. I mean, obviously, as a modder, you could do that already.
Right.
But essentially making a friendly URL where you're going through a couple tabs and it says, "What's your home world?"
That would be
Say
cool.
it's the
Because I
active
would totally do
core,
that when I'm making
level
my race.
6. Maybe even if we go crazy, lets you randomly generate surfaces and then save, the one you want. You
Totally.
know? We have to be careful not to let you, oh, by the way, it's a level 23 with all of the best bonuses on it.
What do you know? Weird. My race is just really good. All right. That's it for real. It's literally an hour at this point. I'm gonna get killed by Derek and/or Ray if I keep Paul away for any longer. Even though you made your beta date, so I feel like you should be able to stream as much
honestly,
as you want.
the weirdest thing is that now that we actually kind of try and be professional, we got to this beta, and the last week, which is, normally when you're wanting to kill yourself, it's been the most relaxed week I've had in like 2 months.
Nice.
So today is kind of my last day of taking it easy. I was playing the game, toying with the Kryn. I'm gonna go see a movie this weekend.
Nice.
Like a Rebel. Gonna run a 10 miles or so, and then Monday we get back on it, and so I'm pretty happy, pretty relaxed right now. I don't think anybody. In fact, Derek's on his way to Gen Con. He's already gone.
Oh yeah, that's right.
And Ray's on his way to Chicago. So yeah, so we can talk all night. Anyways, it's been great. Thanks for everybody who has been contributing on the forums, everyone who watches these streams, and it's been giving us such great questions. It's really nice to build up this community. The more, the better. For sure. And I know that a lot of times you go, well, I'd love to do this, and we don't respond, or I shoot it down because I'm too busy building an asteroid miner or something like that. It's not because we don't care. It's just that there's a lot to do, and we're always looking for more feedback. So
yeah, and I can't be happier with how great the questions have been. Everybody in chat has been super cool. Sometimes chat on Twitch is not always the most welcoming or fun place to be, but you guys have made it a ton of fun. So I appreciate that. We will be back next week with more Galciv 3 beta action, if probably with beta 1 patch 1 at that point. What have you done? I need to turn the stream off before you.
On here so I can now. I'm gonna save this as my. That'd be actually cool. I always wanted to make, and this I'll probably eventually show up, a race of people who use asteroids as their hulls.
I love it.
They essentially build onto the hull, which is a classic sci-fi trope.
Totally.
Lots of people have done it, but we've never bothered to have it. Mostly because asteroids aren't really sexy. But either an expansion or just as pirates or something, they'll show up as soon as I get time to do it.
Cool. All right. Thanks for watching, everybody. We out. We'll see you next week.